So we're back in Barcelona, and we'll be real with you. It's still beautiful. It still feels alive. But we can't help wondering, do people actually want us here anymore? Maybe it's just us. Maybe the city hasn't changed that much, but we have. Maybe we're just more aware now, especially as Americans, of how we're seen when we travel. Barcelona in 2025 still looks and feels like the city so many people fall in love with. The architecture, from Gaudi's surreal curves to the medieval stone of the Barri Gòtic, still stops you in your tracks. The food, still world-class. And that warm Mediterranean light still hits different. But under the surface, the city is navigating big questions, not just about tourism, but about identity, sustainability, and survival. Since the pandemic, Barcelona's faced a kind of reckoning. Locals have been asking, who is the city really for? Because over-tourism didn't stop with COVID. It paused, and then came back harder. And now, residents are pushing back, gently in some places, fiercely in others. Let's talk about what's actually changed. First, the cruise ships. You used to get 5, 6, even 7 massive liners docked at once. Now, the city's cut that way down. It's part of a larger effort to reduce environmental impact and to keep the central districts from being overwhelmed. Airbnb is also under the microscope. The city's been cracking down on illegal rentals and pushing for more regulation. Why? Because rent prices have skyrocketed. Whole buildings once full of families now sit empty or flipped into short-term stays. And yeah, that's complicated. As travelers, we want cozy stays, great locations, and flexibility. But for someone trying to raise a kid or retire with dignity in Barcelona, that Airbnb you love might be part of what's pushing them out. We'll be honest. We've caught ourselves wondering if it's really Barcelona that's changed, or if we've just started seeing it differently. Before, we moved through cities like a highlight reel. Bucket list in one hand, camera in the other. But now, I try to slow down, to listen, to notice how I show up. Since the pandemic, and maybe since I started creating content about travel, I think I've become more aware of how visible we are as travelers, especially as Americans. We're loud. We tip big, or not at all. We ask for things without learning the words first. It's not about shame. It's about being real, owning the impact we have when we walk into someone else's world. When you talk to locals, the ones who live here year-round, who've seen the waves of change, most of them aren't anti-tourist. They're just exhausted. Exhausted by the noise, the crowding, the feeling that their city is becoming a backdrop for someone else's story. But they don't always say it out loud, because they're polite, because tourism still feeds a huge part of the local economy. Because honestly, they've learned to adapt. But don't confuse a smile with indifference. People notice. They remember the kind guest who asked thoughtful questions, and the one who trashed the plaza with a plastic cup and walked away. So where is Barcelona headed? In some ways, toward a smarter version of itself. City planners are trying to rebalance tourism with livability. More pedestrian zones, more public spaces for residents, not just visitors. They're turning blocks into car-free zones with gardens, play areas, and shaded seating. Not for tourists, for locals. And if you're visiting, that's your cue. This is not a place made for your entertainment. It's a place people call home. But there's tension. Some residents want even stronger limits. Others depend on the income. And the government's trying to walk a tightrope between both. And Barcelona's not alone. Lisbon is asking the same questions. So is Palma. Venice just started charging day trippers a fee to enter the city. These places are beautiful, but they're not theme parks. They're living, breathing communities. And if we love them, we need to help them stay that way. It's easy to feel powerless in the face of global tourism trends, but you're not. Every choice you make, where you stay, how you behave, what you support, sends a message. So what kind of traveler do you want to be? You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present. Be curious. Tip if it makes you feel warm and fuzzy. Learn 2 or 3 words in Catalan. Be curious, not just about the sights, but about the people who live behind them. And when you do, when you slow down and show up with care, you'll find that Barcelona may still feel warm and welcoming. Just in a deeper, more meaningful way. This is Top Dog Traveler, where we don't just check off destinations. We connect with them and try to leave each place better than we found it. Barcelona's not perfect, but it still feels authentic and real. And if you meet it with respect, You might just take home something more lasting than a souvenir or cheap mug.